got by night without Paul George. That's the only reason they won that game. Okay, so that's mission impossible, and I had to apologize for the way they played. With that in mind, we bring in Tarek Fatal from the Daily News. My take's a little bit different, but I was bitterly disappointed with our beloved Mission League.
Well, I was at one of those games last night. I was at Oak Park in St. Francis, and if there is a shout-out for the Mission League, I'd like to give a shout-out to Jackson Mosley. We got a video of him walking off the floor in his final game, a 4-year player, which is rare nowadays. There's a transfer era in high school, right, where kids jump from high school to high school. This is Jackson Mosley from St. Francis, the most winningest player in their program, Coach Todd Wolfson said. And a really, really good salute. Wolfson took him out with like a minute to go, and everyone kind of gave him a standing ovation. So his final game was played at Oak Park. But, yeah, the Mission League didn't do so hot last night, but Chaminade's still rocking the Mission League and representing the Mission League outside the Open Division.
Yeah, 1-4. Not very good, not very good at all. What was good is Downey. They won a basketball game last night over Cypress. They won by 9, 67-58. We're going to have their head coach on in a little bit in the program, Coach Larry Shelton in his 35th and final season, and he could take a sigh of relief after that game because his career is still going. Because had they lost, it would have been over, but he continues and has a game against Aquinas tomorrow night, and we'll talk to him about that later in the show. Let's take a look right now at our Pacific Surfliner Open Division for the Southern Section boys. It's an interesting bracket. They do it a little bit different with 2 pools, A and B. What strikes you here, Tarek Fatal?
Well, what strikes me right off the bat on a more professional level is that 4 teams from the Daily News coverage area are in this Open Division field. So that's 4 of the 8 teams are teams that I cover, 1 being West Ranch and the other 3 being from the Mission League, Sierra Canyon, Harvard, Westlake, and Notre Dame. So I'm always intrigued to know that our valley has the best high school hoops, and it's indicated right here in the Open Division field. However, the beauty of this field is that every game is good. Every single game is good. You're not exactly sure who's going to win. Yeah, you got a couple favorites here and there, but that's why they play 3 games, and it's a body of work. And at the end of that body of work, you get to go to the final.
Yeah, it's not a single elimination.
Correct.
So some of the pressure is off. I know a couple of years ago, Corona Centennial lost a game in this pool play and went on to win the whole thing. All right, one of those teams is West Ranch. They've had a great year. They've only lost 1 game. Jeff Bryant is their head coach. They have a star forward in Andrew Meadow. You've been tallying their prowess all year, telling me how great this club is. We're going to get them on the program here in a moment. Why are they so good?
Well, I think on paper, they're probably the most talented team in that pool. When you look at their team, 1 through 7, 8, it's just really, really good. James Evans, Andrew Meadow, who we're going to talk to, they got a 7-footer in Jazz Gardner. They got a point guard in Daryl Morris. They got a kind of this under-the-radar wing player in Isaiah Fields. I mean, they're really good. They got a shooter in Jakari Miles. The list just goes on. And I've been saying on this show, the sneakiest team maybe in the whole thing is West Ranch. And they haven't quite been tested because they're league, but they're about to get tested on Friday night. They got St. John Bosco.
Yeah, they host Bosco, which will be a good game. The Braves are very, very good. All right, let's bring Jeff Bryant in, the head coach and his star performer, at least one of them, Andrew Meadow. Gentlemen, first and foremost, congratulations. You ran right through the Foothill League. You had 2 big wins over Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks during the regular year. Jeff, I want to talk to you first. First of all, again, congratulations. But
thank you.
Nobody seems to talk about West Ranch other than Tarek Fatal. You're kind of lost in the Santa Clarita area. We hear about the Trinity League teams. We hear about the teams from the city. We hear about everybody. Who's West Ranch? So you tell me, who is West Ranch? Who are the Wildcats?
Well, the Wildcats is, of course, located in the Santa Clarita Valley. We're right on top of Magic Mountain. Get off on Valencia Boulevard and you travel up a hill, and we're right there. We're right there on the right side. But it really starts with the community and the school. I mean, I tell everyone all the time, we are a 5-star academic school. We're in one of the safest areas in the country, and now you have the basketball program to go with that. I mean, it's just a great place to be at. And with this year, we are an experienced basketball club. We've been at it for the past 2 to 3 years. We had a few early playoff exits, and it was very disappointing. But we're here now. Andrew's senior year, James Evans, been in the program 3 years now. Jakari's 2 years, Adam Jazz, senior. Um, I think we're ready. We're built to win in the month of February, so we're excited.
Andrew, for you, talk about the journey. Coach Bryant mentioned it, and I've been covering it. You guys have these Foothill League championships, and then it's like second round and out. Maybe you guys have had these early exits, but here you are. You've earned the berth into the Open Division, and talk about just kind of having that hunger of making, giving yourself a longer postseason.
Yeah, it's definitely been a big accomplishment for us to win these Foothill League titles, but it's always been bigger than that. And to have those 2 exits the past 2 years, especially since we're going to play one of the same teams next week, I think it brings a different type of hunger in our team, and I'm really looking forward to this month of February and March.
Jeff, how much do you anticipate this game? I mean, everyone knew that you guys were going to dominate the Foothill League, but now it's been a while since you've played some of the powerhouse teams you played earlier in the year. So I would imagine your team is hungry to be tested.
Yeah, I learned from my high school coach, Border Scoto. We was playing at Silmar. We didn't play in a tough league, but what Coach did, he always scheduled the toughest non-league games. Now, I remember my senior year, we went 0-9 or something like that in the preseason, and we lost to Taft in the semifinal game. They had Larry Drew, Calvin Haynes, and those guys. But, those preseason games really built us and got us ready for the playoffs. And that's what I kind of try to do at West Ranch, schedule tough non-league games, even starting all the way in the summer. When we go to Section 7, we play in the highest bracket, the highest, division you could possibly play in. This past summer, we went, I think, 1-3. So we go to the Border League. We play in the highest division possible. I try to schedule some of the top teams this year in our non-league games. Some schools I was successful scheduling those games, but some schools were like, no, we're not playing you because you're going to be an open division team. We're going to possibly see you in the playoffs. So I try to make our schedule hard as possible to prepare for this moment.
You don't pick up technicals like Bordescoto, do you?
I do not. It's funny. I haven't got one technical in my entire coaching career. So,
well, Bordescoto's made up for both of you.
Yeah, he's got you covered.
He's got everybody covered. Andrew, how have you improved this year? What has made you a special player? You were good in the past, but now you're electric. What's the difference in your game?
I think the difference this year is just trying to be a more all-around player. We have so many different weapons on the court that I realize that it's not just going to be my scoring or my rebounding, that I have to contribute to the team in different ways, like defense or trying to pass the ball more as well. So I think my defense has also drastically improved over the years, and I think that's one of my better parts of my games now.
Andrew, I've got a clip here of you signing autographs. I think you'll remember it at the Damien Classic. You had these kids waiting for you after the game. You took a photo with them. I mean, that must have been a pretty cool moment. Coach mentioned you've been doing interviews lately and doing a little TV. Talk about the attention you've been getting as West Ranch's, marquee player for years now. And here you are in the Open Division. You're going to be looked to in big moments. Just kind of talk about the attention you're getting.
Yeah, over the past, I'd say, year, I've been getting a lot more attention, and it's definitely been crazy to think about. But, I mean, I think it's a tribute to all my hard work. I think that it was going to come eventually, so just being ready for those type of moments.
And just the last one, I remember you guys being, you're going to have to refresh my memory, down maybe like 20 points or something at halftime against Notre Dame in that same tournament. And you guys
25.
turned it around. There you go. They were down 25. And we kind of thought, uh-oh, this could be the moment maybe West Ranch starts to unravel, or, oh, here come the question marks. And you guys put it together, came back and won that game. Can you share with us how important that game was for you guys?
Yeah, I think that game was the most important game of the season for us. The game right before that was our one loss to Rancho Christian. So to go down 25 right after our first loss it was definitely something we haven't felt all season. So to be able to rally all up together and fight back and win that game, I think really shows how good our team really is.
Last question, Coach. You're playing St. John Bosco tomorrow night, but you have a 3-game pool. So you have these 3 powerful teams you have to play against, including Harvard Westlake. How do you prepare for 3 in a row like that? Are you solely looking at St. John Bosco, or are you peeking down the road at some of your other competition?
That's what we got assistant coaches for. I assigned coaches to, do scouting report for those other 2 teams that we're playing. And I'm mainly really focusing on St. John Bosco at this moment. But I'll be telling the fib if I say I wasn't looking forward to playing St. Bernard's after our deficit last year. That was so painful. I still haven't watched the game. So I'm definitely looking forward to, that game as well as Harvard Westlake, because Harvard Westlake embarrassed us last year. And, I think, Tarek might have mentioned it before that when West Ranch, when the lights turn on, our lights turn off. So this is our time to keep our lights on and show everybody that we belong here.
Well, you definitely belong. You've had a great year. Congratulations on the wonderful season and going unblemished in the Foothill League. Andrew, best of luck. I know you're going on to Boise State. I'm sure you'll have a great, great career in the Mountain West.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow night.
For having us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Nobody talks about these Wildcats.
I've been trying to pump them all year because I know how talented they are, and they've been talented in the past, but finally, and Jeff will admit this, finally they're starting to win games that matter. They went and they won the Tarkanian Classic in Las Vegas. They come and they do well in the Damien Classic. Again, they have the 1 loss to Rancho. They're ready to rock, and I think they're the sleeper for the Open Division.
We're ready to take a break, and when we come back, Pacific Surfliner is going to present some of the other brackets that we're going to be looking forward to tomorrow night. So stay with us. Plus, Larry Shelton, the fine coach at Downey High School, will join us in the studio. That's all next on SoCal Prep Report.
Southern California has always been a land of discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
Hey, it's Vanessa, and I have a magical trip idea just for you. Hop on the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner train for a scenic and comfortable ride to Anaheim. You'll arrive here at Arctic. Show your train ticket for a free bus connection to the front gates of the Disneyland Resort. When you take the train, you can unlock a 5% savings on theme park admission. Trains depart late enough for you to stay the whole day and even enjoy the nighttime spectaculars.
Learn more at PacificSurfliner.com/Game of the Week.
And welcome back to SoCal Prep Report. Randy Rosenblum, Tarek Fatal. In a little bit, we'll talk to Larry Shelton, the head coach at Downey, talk about his great season. But Pacific Surfliner is going to present the boys bracket in the city section. Remember earlier we looked at that wild board for the open division of the CIF Southern section. Here's the city section, and we'll go over some of these games later. But Narbonne's the #1 ranked team.
Yeah, they have Marcus Adams, I believe, is their best player. He's getting offers from everywhere. I think UCLA is on him and all kinds of other. He's like a anywhere he wants to go type of kid. So I think they're the team to beat. But, of course, the West Valley co-champion Birmingham is down there at 2. So maybe they're on a collision course for the final.
Yeah, you got Taft, and you can never discount Fairfax. That should be a terrific game as well. Now, the ladies, a lot of their games on the lower division games are being played today and tonight. But let's start first with the southern section, and that's all about Sierra Canyon. Juju Watkins, the premier player. She had a 60-point game recently on her way to USC. And Etiwanda's outstanding, but those are the 2 teams. But everyone believes it's going to be Sierra Canyon.
I'm sitting here just shaking my head because Juju Watkins is literally a walking anomaly. She's just that good. So I just don't see anybody beating the Trailblazers. They're literally the #1 team in the country. So look for them to probably play Etiwanda in the final.
I don't think that's going to be a surprise. Etiwanda beat them, by the way, in the finals last year, and then Sierra Canyon got them in the state and went on to win the state championship. All right, the girls in the city, Granada Hills. This surprised me. Westchester's number 2, but they had the better record. They gave Granada Hills the top seed.
Yeah, I think Granada might have the better player. They've got Marianne Boko, who could be, if Westchester and Granada play in the final, Granada will have the better player on the floor. Now, does that mean then they win? No, not necessarily, but I think that's what kind of gave them the edge. So the Highlanders, they already won tonight. They're on to the next round.
Let me ask you this. Westchester played Granada last year. Who won?
Hey, man, it's a new year.
Same players, different season. But Westchester beat them last year.
Sometimes you get better. We're going to talk to Coach Larry Shelton. He's been coaching for 35 years. He's going to tell us a little bit about that.
They'll decide it on the floor anyway. The 1 and the 2 ranking really doesn't mean anything.
I'm just answering your question.
We always do, and I appreciate that. Larry Shelton, 30 good years plus, 35 to be exact. Last night I was nervous because I was looking at the Downey Cypress score, and I wasn't getting updates. And then finally the score popped in, and it said Downey winning the game by 9. I go, whew, because we had booked Larry earlier in the week, and I'm thinking, is it going to be just a retirement party for the coach, or is he going to still be in the 2A tournament? He's still in the tournament with a nice win over Cypress. Coach, welcome and congratulations on your victory last night.
Thank you very much. My career's still going, at least for another game. And by the way, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here tonight.
It's a close game last night. Mm-hmm. You're playing Cypress. It's a 3 or a 4 point game. You're on the bench. Does it cross your mind that this could be the end?
Never once did it cross my mind. We led pretty much the entire game. We would get up 9 or 10. They would close it to 3 or 4, and it kept doing that. And probably with about 4 minutes left, we made a run and actually got it up to 13, and I felt pretty good at that point.
Talk about the identity of your team, Coach. You know, we moving the ball side to side. You got a really good player that you look for every possession. You play really tight D. You mix it up. Talk to us about how you win games.
Well, if you watch us warm up, you'll probably ask that question. How do we win games? We're extremely small. I have the tallest kid in our starting lineup is 6'3". Then we go 6 feet, 5'6", 5'8",
wow.
and 5'10". And we are a veteran team. I have 6 three-year players that have played a lot for me for the last 3 years. And that's one of the reasons I decided to go out this year. I wanted to make sure that I knew we were going to have a good team, and I've coached these kids for a long time. And their experience is probably our biggest gift. We shoot the ball really well, they move the ball really well, and they just have tremendous heart, and they understand how to win.
When I hear 5'8", 5'9", a 6-footer, you got to have tough kids. I mean, do you kind of hang your hat on taking charges, getting loose balls? Talk to us a little about the grit maybe your team has.
Tarek, that's what we're most proud of at Downey High School. I am the antithesis of a recruiter. I have never been to an AAU game in my life. I take whoever walks through the door, and we in Downey get a lot of tough Latino kids. Mm-hmm. And, like I say, they might watch us warm up and think we're not going to be very much. And when that game starts, all of a sudden they know they're in for a battle. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished.
You know, we just saw LeBron break that unbelievable Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scoring record, and how emotion broke through him at the end of the game and that moment. You're not only going to retire after this year, but you're going to do it with 10 seniors on the varsity, 6 or 7 in your starting rotation. So when it does end for you, what do you think that experience is going to be like?
I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm sure it will be emotional, and I'm sure that it'd be tough. I mean, this is my entire identity of my entire life. Everywhere I go in that city, I grew up in the city of Downey. I've been a part of that community ever since I went to high school, Downey High School. And, everybody in the community knows me as Coach Shelton. Mm-hmm. And, when we lose, I guess I'm not Coach Shelton anymore.
I wanted to ask you this. We were talking about a little bit before the show. You've been around quite a while, Coach. Can you maybe share some of the glaring differences in the kid you were coaching your second year in the, when you first started coaching, and now here we are in 2022, 2023? What are the big differences that you find?
Well, I think generally, not necessarily with the group that I'm coaching right now, but I think kids today are a little more entitled. When I first started out, very few kids played travel ball. Parents weren't that involved as they are now, and you know, I like to say that we have a lot of kids that the only time they play is if adults organize it for them. And you know, I think you guys would say that when we grew up, we would play over the line at the park on weekends, or we would, you know, and then it was time for flag football season and different things, and you know, it's so different now, and they specialize year round, and they put so much time and effort and money into it that every parent wants to see their son playing. And you know, I'm a parent too, and I like the same for my kid, but unfortunately not everyone can play, and sometimes that leads to some issues.
I don't want to put you out to pasture, but how do you want to be remembered when you go out the door?
I want to be remembered as someone that cared about kids. I want to be someone that is remembered as always giving his best effort for the school, and someone that did it the right way, in my opinion, without recruiting and bringing in a bunch of. I see it so many guys bring in a bunch of high-level players from AAU, and then they win these games and think they're great coaches. We believe in a program at Downey. If you come and look at what we have, watch our freshman team, our JV team, our varsity team. We just, in the first year of the Gateway League, we just swept all 3 levels, freshman, JV, varsity, because we have a very good program.
Coach, you seem very proud of your program, and that's a kudos to you. Just kind of maybe let's talk about some of your players. You know, an opportunity on TV to kind of get some names out there. Who are your guys? Go ahead.
Well, Jathan Lopez is our 6'3", I guess you'd call center forward. Handles the ball a lot for us, though. He's like a point forward is what he is, and our leading rebounder and great court vision and a tremendous defensive player. Our scorers would be Jacob Tapetti, our point guard, Marcus Sanchez, our 2 guard, and Omar Cisneros, who's 5'6", and everybody discounts him. But if you leave Omar open, it's an automatic 3 points.
It's
I'm
good.
telling you right now, it's good. And then we have one other player that everybody marvels at, and that's Aiden Rouse, who's a 5'10" power forward. And nobody thinks he should even be out there when they look at him, and somehow he gets a double-double every game.
Wow.
All right, you got Aquinas tomorrow night at your house.
Correct.
Not only do you have to win that game, you got to win games down the road to win it all. What's it going to take, and who are you going to have to beat to win the 2A championship?
Well, obviously we have to beat Aquinas. That's on my mind right now. And 35 years of coaching, I knew almost nothing about them until this week, and now it's my job to know about them.
And they're big, right?
And
they're tall.
They are 6'9" and 6'7", so right there, that's going to be a challenge for us. You know, we're going to have to figure out a way to get the ball off the board, and we're going to have to find a way to score against their length. You know, my kids have been in every game this year, and I anticipate that we will again tomorrow, and I think it's going to be a really good game.
I guess one more. You certainly have seen some length and some athleticism throughout the course of a year.
Correct.
What's the recipe for beating some size and length with some guys that are on the shorter side on your roster?
Well, as we talked about before, it starts with toughness. They're not afraid of anybody, and we'll front and give lots of help. We might mix it up man and zone to mix them up a little bit. But I'm sure we'll give up some offensive rebounds, but we will scrap and find ways to get the ball off the board enough to compete.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming in. Congratulations on a great 3 decades plus. Good luck tomorrow night and going forward. Stay with us. We're going to talk about a few games here. If you want to chime in, that's okay too. Okay. But thanks for joining us.
Randy, Tarek, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, Tarek, we got some games to talk about, and hopefully the coach will chime in. Let's first start. I'm looking at Sierra Canyon at Corona Centennial in the Open Division. That's going to be a great game on paper. I personally think Corona Centennial's too good, but Bronny James is back. Is Elohim going to play for Sierra Canyon?
Yeah, Sierra Canyon, that's a team with no transfers, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, that's the biggest question for Sierra Canyon. I think they eked their way in, and I mean that, right. I think Coach Chevalier would agree. They had some injuries, and those injuries clearly impacted their performance, yet they got into the Open. So I think the pressure's off for them, actually.
Yeah,
they're the 8th seed. You're on the road to the defending state champ. You know, hey, let's just throw the kitchen sink and see what happens. So I think if Elohim is even 80%, that's huge for Sierra Canyon. I'm not saying they go down there and win, but it would be good for the rest of the tournament.
I still like Jared McCain. He's a great player. Going to Duke. Evan Williams going to UCLA. Got to go with Corona Centennial.
Yeah, agreed.
St. John Bosco at West Ranch. We've got to like West Ranch, right?
Right. I don't
They were on
think
the
hopefully
show.
those guys aren't watching anymore. No, Matt Dunn is the coach
Right.
at St. John Bosco, and boy, does he do a good job. The thing with St. John Bosco, kind of on the younger side, and I think West Ranch is up the upperclassmen and guys that are hungry and they're at home. I think give me West Ranch in that opener.
How about St. Bernard and Harvard Westlake? The Wolverines will host all 3 games. They're the number 2 seed. So in Pool B, they get 3 games at home.
Corona Centennial last year was this well-oiled machine with Donovan Dent and so on and so forth. I think the well-oiled machine this year is David Rabibo's Harvard Westlake team. So give me the
5
Wolverines.
D1 guys they start.
They're unreal. So give me Harvard Westlake over St. Bernard.
Yeah, they start Trent Perry, the junior, who's phenomenal in the backcourt. Just got an
This
offer
last one's a
from
toss-up.
UCLA.
Go ahead.
This last one, Notre Dame Christian.
No, Notre Dame and Bishop Montgomery. Yeah.
Notre Dame, yeah. Sherman
That's a toss-up. Obviously, Notre Dame's got to go on the road, but I think Notre Dame's going to win that game.
I'm not so sure. I think Bishop Montgomery's got a lot of athletes. I agree with you. But Notre Dame, they got the big 3 who can really score. Dusty Stromer is great. In the city section, Narbonne with Marcus Adams Jr. and Westchester, who's been a perennial power, but Ed Azam's not there anymore. Narbonne.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
Oh, I know, it's a little brainer.
No, okay.
Fairfax Crenshaw is a really good game. Robinson at Crenshaw is a terrific guard, A.J. Robinson. Where's number 42 to honor Jackie Robinson, even though they're not related?
Yeah, I think that's another toss-up game, but give me Fairfax in that game.
How about King Drew, who ended up winning the Coliseum League, knocking off Crenshaw, went 9-1 in the league, and they play Taft. And Derek Taylor just won his 500th game as the coach at Taft.
DT, I think, okay, so I was at this game last year. King Drew comes to Woodland Hills, knocks off Taft. So there's a rematch there, but I think Taft is going to win that game. That's tomorrow night.
I like Birmingham over San Pedro.
Yep.
Herboka can really flat out shoot the pill for San Pedro, but I don't think they have enough. Taft has Kenzie, who's just a terrific scorer. Keon Kenzie, you agree?
Yes. Well, okay, real quick, who was the little guard? Caleb LeCount?
Caleb LeCount.
From the King Drew?
Yes,
that's
he was
who came.
unbelievable.
He came and beat by himself last year.
Yeah,
obviously,
over 40, didn't he?
King Drew doesn't have him anymore, but King Drew came to the Woodland Hills and was dancing off the floor because they upset the Toradors. And LeCount was so good.
Oh, yeah, and I saw him in an All-Star game after that, and he dominated that. I think he went to East Carolina, but I haven't checked and see how he's doing.
We got to check in on
him.
him. Really
we should
talented
check
player.
on Caleb. He was really great. All right, you're going to be at the West Ranch game tomorrow night.
Yes. West Ranch, St. John Bosco, really looking forward to it. The guy said it should be a packed-out crowd, so we're looking forward to it.
It'll be a lot of fun. I don't know where I want to go to. I mean, my Huskies have a game tomorrow night in a lower division game. I live right by North Hollywood High. I don't even know who they're playing. They're not going to win their tournament, but they're in it. They're in it. So why not go, right?
I got a game for you to go to.
Yeah.
Chatsworth at Grant.
Okay, that's
Elijah Arenas, who plays for
Grant?
Chatsworth at Grant, where his dad used to play. They're a little city section action
I
for
like
you.
that. That's a
good
one.
little storyline. There you go.
That's a great storyline. And again, it's only 3 miles from my house. And Grant is probably going to win the game, but Arenas can score.
Exactly.
Great player. We played him earlier this year.
You played Elijah Arenas earlier in the year?
Yes.
So good.
For a freshman.
Just a freshman, right?
Phenomenal skills for a freshman.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks a lot again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's going to do it. We're done. Fast half
Went
hour
by like
tonight.
that.
You were good tonight.
I think you were even better.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about my take on the Mission League. We'll see how they do in this open division.
What did you call the segment?
Mission Impossible.
That was good.
You like that?
That
A
was
little
good.
play on the words.
That was
For the
good.
coach, Larry Shelton, for our guest at West Ranch, Jeff Bryant, and his outstanding player, Andrew Meadow, and of course, Tarek Fatal. I'm Randy Roseman. We'll see you next Thursday night, live at 9, right here on LA 36 on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.